Hi guys, this is Dr. Nick, Central Family Chiropractic. Today we are doing a video, and today we are going to be talking about colicky babies. All right, the little quotation that we have up there is very common that we hear amongst moms and specifically moms, dads as well, that the baby won't stop crying, and parents, especially first-time parents, tend to think like, am I doing something wrong? Or is there something that I could be doing differently to get them to stop crying? So today we're just going to talk about what colic is, and we're going to name the top two reasons of number one, what causes colic, because a lot of parents, especially parents that have multiple kids, you'll hear them say like, oh, well, my first child, they were just an angel. They slept great. They hardly ever fussed. But my second child, she was just a nightmare for the first 6 months. I mean, it was just like cried nonstop. And when we hear statements like that, we tend to think that, oh, well, it's just colic is just something that's just random, or that you have a, oh, well, my it's just a random chance. And that is not the truth. If a baby is fussing, then they are fussing for a reason. And as a baby, they don't have a whole lot of responsibilities. Their main objectives are to eat, to poop, and to sleep. And if they're not doing a lot of all three of those, then something is wrong. And when they tend to have something wrong, then they fuss. That's how they get attention. As an adult, when we are uncomfortable or we don't feel good, we can verbally express that. But as a baby, obviously they don't have those skills yet. So their way of getting the message across is by crying. So colic is simply a baby's version of saying, I don't feel well. Something's not right. Something's off, all right? And the two reasons that we find most often that creates a colicky baby, or that makes a baby fuss, is due to even well before the baby is born. The first one would be what we call in utero constraint. So the baby, they develop in the womb, and the environment in which they develop in, if that is not optimal, then, and the mom's pelvis and their alignment is off, then the baby's environment in which they develop in can provide basically a cramped environment for the baby to develop, and that can be one of the first starts of the baby being uncomfortable or out of balance. And the second one, and this is the most common, is the birth process in general. So if you're a mom, you're watching this, you guys obviously know that the birth process is a traumatic event. It's not a walk in the park for a baby or for the mom. So as there's a lot of tugging and pulling and pushing going on, and as the baby is born, that is the most common event in which there is a chance that that the baby can develop an imbalance in their body, in their spine, in their muscle, in their tension, and the tension of their body. And that is what we want to talk about today. So here are some things that you can look for as a parent to identify if your baby could be out of balance. And when they have that out of balanceness going on in their spine and their nervous system, their body is going to be stressed and tight and tense. And that is going to be why they end up fussing like they do. So when we have parents that have brought their babies in and we assess that and we correct that imbalance very gently, it's a very cool thing, because the most common response that we see parents say is that, oh, I feel like I have a completely different child. And the answer to that is no, you don't. It's just that your child is now able to relax and calm and grow like they were designed to. So here are some things that if you're at home, you can look for to identify if your child is a little off balance. It could be creating that discomfort. So the first one is range of motion, especially in the head and the neck. So if you notice that your baby spends a lot of time with their head to one side, or laying on their back with their head to one side, if you notice that your baby nurses from one side better than the other, or feeds from one side better than the other, that can be a sign that their body and their range of motion, their body is off balance. Okay. The second would be arching. Okay. If you're burping your baby and you notice that they fidget, they kind of fuss and twitch whenever you're burping them, that is another example that there's stress and tension within that neurospinal system that's creating that discomfort. And then the last one would be if your baby is very tight and tense and rigid, okay? Babies, a lot of people don't think this, but babies are supposed to be floppy and soggy and basically like you're holding a big ball of mush, okay? A healthy baby is a baby that just kind of flops around, you know? So if your baby, when you hold them, they're very tense and tight and rigid, okay? Maybe they pick their head up really early and some parents are like, wow, he can pick his head up already. That can actually be a sign that there is a lot of stress and tension on their system that is making and creating that colicky nature, okay? So those are just 3 little tips and 2 reasons as to what causes colic. And parents, I just want you to know that there is hope out there, that you don't have to wait 6 months or 8 months or whatever. You hear different stories of how long people had to wait before their baby quit crying and grew out of colic, that there is answers out there. And if anybody has a question or a comment or a concern, please feel free to reach out to us. Give us a call. Send us a message, send us an email, whatever works best. We would love to answer more questions. So I thank you guys for tuning in and have a great week.